Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to part 16 of this Baldur's Gate 3 trophy and achievement walkthrough. We're in the abandoned refuge making our way toward the Grym Forge. We're going to get quite a few trophies in this one episode, so pay attention and follow along. From the waypoint here, we're going to go down the nearby staircase and then hang a left just before getting to the other staircase. Keep running straight back and you should see this big door. Open it up and then proceed on toward the back of this room. The game probably should autosave right around this area, but don't worry, there's no real traps or anything you need to worry about. As you get through here, you should get a perception check and you should see this button on the wall. Go ahead and press that and that will lower the wall next to you. You can go inside and in here there's going to be a treasure chest, and behind the treasure chest there's going to be a couple items that we want to pick up. So go ahead, open up the chest, grab everything inside of it that you want, and then go behind the chest and you'll see two Smokepowder satchels on the ground. Pick those up because those are very handy for blowing open sturdy blockades, and we definitely need to do some of that a little bit later on if we want to progress a certain quest line down here. But I'm going to show you a different way to do it as well. So after you've grabbed those things, then just go back out the way you came. We're going to run all the way back toward where that waypoint was at the top of the stairs. On the left-hand side, there's going to be another alleyway going back, and for some reason they keep pet spiders back there. I don't get it, kind of weird. And we're going to make our way up to the waypoint and then turn toward the left. At the top of the stairs, if you look toward the right-hand side, there is a little treasure chest tucked back in the corner here. So go ahead and open that up, grab the little bit of money and stuff inside of it, whatever you want, and then go around the corner here. Now, before we proceed on, I am going to do a long rest. We have to advance a couple of quest lines and work on some trophies, so we'll take a long rest at this point. Once we're in camp, we should get an update to the Wizard of Waterdeep. That's Gale's quest line. We can go over and talk to him. He wants another magic artifact.
Nasty way to go. Suffocating slowly under a ton of rubble. Not a fate I'd personally relish.
I think I have a magical artifact you'll be interested in.
That is most gratifying to hear. May I?
Give Gale a magic artifact. Let's just choose something that we don't need. I'll take this mace.
Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mistra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent.
Go on, you're among friends.
I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy. Who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it. Much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mistra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover.
Are you telling me you made love to a goddess?
Oh, yes. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mistra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross. Yet, every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries.
How exactly did you try to cross those boundaries?
I tried to convince her. I pleaded, swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. But inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale?
I'm intrigued. Tell me all.
Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms, until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess?
What was the answer to that question?
The answer was to try. The outcome was to fail. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you in, into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, then suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Yank your hand away.
Terrifying, isn't it? And that is only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however,
Go on.
I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep.
Is there nothing we can do?
We might chance upon a king's collection of magical artifacts around the corner. We might cross paths with a miracle round the bend. Then again, we might not. All of this, it must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways.
We've come this far together and will continue on together. That is how it will be.
That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth.
Alright, so we're making good progress with Gale's quest line. Now let's go drop off Lae'zel at camp, and we're going to pick up Karlach, and then we're going to take a long rest. But this time we're going to do something a little bit special. What we're going to do is do a long rest and only use alcohol, and that's going to get us another trophy in and of itself. If you don't have enough alcohol right now, that's fine. In the next episode, I'll show you a place where you can get a ton of free alcohol. So if you have enough now, go ahead and use it. Otherwise, we'll just save this one for the next episode. And if you rescued the Owlbear Cub from the goblins, then you are able to get it to come to your camp eventually, and this is where it happened for me.
You recognize the feathered creature. It's the Owlbear Cub you rescued.
Fetch a piece of food from your bag.
The cub's eyes lock onto the food in your hand.
Keep the food held out in front of you.
Careful. Once that thing's eaten through the camp, it might start looking at you hungrily. I'm not chasing after it, if that's what you're thinking.
Now, the owlbear doesn't just stick around. It does have to come back at a later long rest, but that was a good first step. We also got the bottoms up trophy for doing a long rest with only alcohol. So at this point now, we're going to continue on with our journey. Let's go ahead and just leave camp from here. Now let's continue around this corner, and before you get too far, I would recommend saving it, because we do have a conversation coming up with 3 separate skill checks, and it's good if you can pass all of them. When you're ready, talk to Stonemason Kith.
How peculiar. Smooth face, cobbled edges. They're a sign. They must be. A sun dweller in these parts. Look here, my topside friend. I need fresh eyes, and I doubt I'll find fresher.
Fine. What should I be looking at?
The rock, the rubble, all of it, if I may be so bold. Take a look. Tell me what you see, and be thorough.
History. Assess the statue for technique and composition. Here we have a skill check looking for a 10. Unfortunately, we have a -1 to intelligence, but we can use an advantage with Shadowheart, so go ahead, use that, and we should be able to pass this one without too much issue.
The statue's meandering curves and golden edges stand out against the weathered masonry behind it. 2 styles, 2 eras. The statue was carved from newer stone and erected by latecomers to this ancient fortress.
Anything standing out?
Investigation. Examine the fallen rubble. Another skill check looking for a 10. We can use another advantage here with guidance. Let's roll this. Unfortunately, I come up with a critical fail. Not a big deal. You don't need to use an inspiration point for this.
Boulders and stone bricks of various sizes clutter the corridor. Many split cleanly in 2. Yet some walls remain fully intact. What this pattern signifies, you can't fathom.
What do you think?
Perception. Survey the area for unseen curiosities. Another skill check looking for a 10. We'll use whatever bonuses and advantages we have, and we're able to pass this one without an issue.
Several glassy stones stand out in the debris. Their borders are coated with tiny yellow crystals. The hottest of flames smoothed the stone and left sulfuric crystals behind. The fires of the hells have touched Grimforge.
I am ready to report my observations.
The statue is newer than the fortress, you say? So obvious in hindsight. Sulfur. Of course! The rocks have been altered by hellfire! Alas, you've left me with more questions than answers. My survey continues.
I would like to trade.
Well, let's see what you've got.
So the main thing for him is he has this infernal alloy. If we got all 3 of those skill checks to succeed, he would give this to us for free as a reward. However, it's only 150 gold, not that expensive, so I will pick that up and the supply pack, and then I'm just going to go through and sell off a bunch of stuff that I don't need. I'm going to skip all that though.
That's all then.
Okay, we're all set here for this point. Now we're going to continue down the path.
Oh! Hello? Hey!
So, are you greeting invisible beings or just losing your mind?
The echoes, listen. They're coming from 3 directions.
Losing your mind it is. Probably the tadpole. The weirdest things seem to be.
Alright, there is a wooden chest back here behind these 2 targets. Let's go ahead and pick the lock.
Let's crack it open.
It's a skill check looking for a 10. We don't really need any bonuses because we get that just from his proficiencies and dexterity. So we're able to do this very simply with Astarion. And now let's open it up and we'll see that there's the light crossbow +1. Let's grab that.
No Dwergar made this. The design looks Sharon.
Okay, we'll continue along down this narrow pathway. There's going to be a book over here called On Sloth, Gluttony, and Vice. We're just going to read that really quick. Just a reminder, we're trying to read 100 different books throughout the entire game. Now let's run down around the path here, and when you get to the bottom part, there's the cragged rock. Go ahead, use that, and you can climb down to the lower level. There's going to be this purple crystal right here, the Chasm Creeper. Grab that, and you're going to get a new recipe for the Salts of Chasm Creeper. Now let's head back up this cragged rock, and we're going to go back out the way that we came. There are a few skeletons on the ground in this area, so go ahead and loot those. They do have some interesting things that Shadowheart finds particularly interesting.
As you look at the skeletons, you realize they are all clad in the same dark armor.
Dark Justicia uniforms. These were Shah worshippers. The same as me.
Whatever killed them made an enemy of a powerful goddess.
Whatever killed a bunch of Sharans might still be down here. Just saying.
There's another skeleton here, and if you talk to it, you can get the Dark Justiciar mail as well as the Dark Justiciar journal. Another thing that we can read that will also start a new quest. If we want to do it, it's a side quest called Help the Spirit of the Amulet. There is one more skeleton in this area, and if we examine it, we can grab the Scroll of Slow. If you like taking scrolls, that's a good place to find that one. Now let's head up and then go over toward the left for a cutscene.
You, grab a cane and whip these droognin beasts into shape. That rubble needs clearing, and my patience is hanging on by an arse whisker.
You want me to cane these poor beasts?
Damn right I do. Getting cramps in my arm trying to whip the droognin beasts back to work. Now get to the caning, before I thrash you instead.
What's behind the rubble?
You got no need to know, and I got no need to tell. So get to caning or to leaving.
Persuasion. You want my help? Then you will tell me what's back there. Now we get a skill check looking for a 15. We do have a +4 for our persuasion proficiency, and we can get the advantage, so we're able to pass this one pretty easily.
Fine. Look at this. Adamantine. Stuff's no joke. Stronger than steel, rarer than mithril. It ain't mined. It's made. There's an Adamantine Forge back there, sure as shitting. Don't get any smart ideas. That forge is clan property. But get the beasts moving and I'll toss some coin your way.
Let's see what I can do.
Go on then. Light a fire under the buggers.
It's definitely a good idea to save before doing this next part, and when you're ready, then go talk to one of these big animals. They're called Deep Rothe.
The creature is disturbed, its breath quickened by anger and fear.
You can choose either of the animal handling ones. I'll choose Meet Its Eye, Show It How Calm You Are, all as well. We have a skill check of 15. Both of those are a skill check of 15, so it doesn't really matter. Use whatever bonuses you have and try to get this one completed.
The Rothe seems calmer in your presence. Its eyes flicker towards the Dweger, burning with raw, bestial rage.
Encourage it to breathe and get back to work. There is only the work.
The Rothe looks at you with big, soft eyes. Then it lowers its head obediently.
We get a good chunk of experience for doing this. In fact, everyone's going to be leveling up very soon for me. And the Rothes get to work clearing that rubble for us, making our job very easy.
Not enough gaming for my tastes, but you got the job done. I almost feel bad about this.
What in the hells? I helped you, and now you want me dead?
Adamantine is precious, Jarg, and I'm not the sharing type.
Regardless of how the conversation with the Rothe went, you still have to fight the Dwagers down here. The difference being is that if you can convince the Rothes to clear the rubble, they will be on your side in this fight versus you having to fight them on top of the Dwagers. So definitely better off getting them to clear the rubble for you and then help you out in this fight. It's not a very interesting fight. It's all of us. It's 6 versus 3, so we definitely have the advantage here. And you can see that there are guys standing very near to the edge there, that big cliff, and you can actually knock guys off. So if you have not yet gotten the shove-off trophy, this is a good place to do it because you just have to knock them off and they will die. So I'm going to skip ahead in the fight a little bit just to show you something funny that happened. The Rothe comes over, knocks this guy off the ledge, and he's out of here. So just like that is how you would do it for the shove-off trophy, by knocking him off the ledge all the way down to his death. We're just skipping ahead now to the end of the fight. 2 of them were eliminated up here, and then 1 fell down the cliff below. So the ones who are up here, you can loot their bodies if you want to. There's nothing very important for you, though. And then we can go through the opening where the rebel was that the Rothes cleared for us. And we're going to now level up. Everyone has hit level 5 at this point, so let's see what bonuses we get. Starting off with the monk, we are now level 5, and we get an increase to our health. We get an additional key point, as well as extra attack. We can make an additional free attack after making an unarmed or weapon attack. A few other jobs have that extra attack bonus. However, if you were to multi-class to those jobs, they do not stack. We also get the stunning strike, melee, and unarmed, so we can possibly stun the target and do a little bit of damage to them at the same time. Next up, we're going to have a look at Shadowheart, who is now a level 5 cleric. We get a health increase, we unlock a level 3 spell slot, as well as a lot of spells to go along with them. So go ahead, look through the list. We're not really going to make any changes to our current spell lineup right now. I don't use her spells a whole lot anyway. I don't know, I just tend to focus more on the melee side of things, I guess. But feel free to switch it up however you want to. There's no trophies or achievements related to any of this kind of stuff, so all you have to do is make it however you want to, and then we can move on. So next up on the list, we're going to be looking at Astarion, who is a level 5 rogue. We get a health increase and uncanny dodge. Use your lightning quick reflexes to protect yourself. When an attack hits you, you only take half the usual damage. That's pretty nice for us. So nothing really new for him to learn apart from those things. So we're just going to proceed on and look at Karlach, who is now a level 5 barbarian. We get a health increase, also an extra attack just like our monk, and we get fast movement. Movement speed increased by 3 meters while not wearing heavy armor. So that's really nice for us, and we get the Legacy of Avernus, Branding Smite, possibly marks your target with light, preventing it from turning invisible. That's kind of nice too, especially in the late game where there are invisible enemies. Let's continue on. There's a very large staircase right in front of us, so let's run up that, and then we really just have to follow the very linear pathway all the way up to the top of this place. So when you get up here, turn toward the right-hand side, keep running through the hallway, and go up another set of stairs. When you get to the top, you can turn left, and there's the Orb of Dark Vision. When you speak to it with different characters, you get different voice lines. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't do a whole lot, but it is interesting how different people react to it, and it also grants Dark Vision for 10 turns. Once you're all set with that Orb of Dark Vision, you can turn around and walk to the opposite hallway. Now be very careful because there are lots of traps in this area. What you want to do is walk forward very slowly, and past the first set of broken vases on the ground, there's a line on the floor, and then past the second vases, there's another line on the floor. I would recommend separating all of your party members from each other. That way you can jump across it one by one without the other ones following you over it and setting those traps off. So here we'll jump over one of the traps, and then we'll jump over the other trap. And then just ahead on the left-hand side, there's going to be a ladder. So just run over here and use the iron ladder to climb down. And once your character gets to the bottom, let's just switch to the next character, and we're going to hop over these things and go down. I'm just speeding it up because otherwise it would just take a while to show you the same thing over and over again. So that's 3 characters down. Now let's take Karlach over, and we'll climb down to the bottom. So that was pretty easy. Going all the way to the end of that, bypassing all the traps, isn't really worth it. There's not a whole lot of goodness down there. It's just a whole bunch of traps for you. So we're going to just skip all that. With our party members back together now, we can jump up onto this little metal bridge thing, and we're going to allow all of our party members to hop up onto it. So once we're all on board, then you can use a range attack to attack the lever. We want to shoot the lever on the side closest to us, and if we hit that, then we're going to move this bridge across to the other side. Once we're over here, you can do this now or save it for just a few minutes from now, but you can hop down and you can grab this longsword mold. This is important. Having a mold is all that's necessary to get one of the trophies a little bit later on. So there's going to be multiple of those molds coming up, and I'll show you where a few of them are. But now you just want to hop back across the bridge, going over to these double iron doors, and we're going to have Astarion pick the lock on this.
Oh, for a skeleton key.
So we have a skill check looking for a 12. We basically can do that without any advantages whatsoever, but we might as well use it to ensure it. And I rolled a 2, so almost a critical miss, but I was able to get through it with all the bonuses. And now we're going to go through these doors and to the other side. So let's run through here, and then we're going to go up the staircase, and there's going to be a few things of interest up in this area. So let's turn over toward the right-hand side. There's going to be these double doors, which are also locked. So we're going to lockpick these ones, but be careful because as soon as you open this door, then there's going to be a mandatory fight that comes with it. So use whatever advantages you can to get through this door and be prepared for the fight on the other side. It's not very difficult though, you just don't want to be at low health when you do it. So now we're going to open the door and the fight is going to start. We have 4 different enemies in here. There are 3 ones called Hellsboar, and if you get too close to them and use a melee attack, you'll light yourself on fire and take a little bit of damage. So you can see that now I'm burning. Not so great, but these guys are pretty weak. You can take them out pretty easily. Here you can see I get a second attack. This is from the extra attack bonus that I just got when I leveled up. So that's pretty cool. So now really every turn I can do 3 attacks no problem. I can use my normal attack, I can use my other unarmed strike as a bonus action, and I can do an extra attack. So 3 attacks with the monk, that's pretty cool. Now we're going to run up. We do have the advantage on this guy, so I can use my sneak attack melee, and that will crit him, and he's out. So now we can follow that up with another offhand attack, just doing a little bit more damage to this Hellsboar, and now we're going to switch turns. So it's going to be Shadowheart's turn. I don't have enough movement to get close enough to use a melee attack, but I can get close enough to do a ranged attack. So I'm going to just run up here and then target this Hellsboar that has a little bit of damage already, and I crit him for 8, not enough to take him out necessarily, but enough to do some pretty good damage to him. And now it's Karlach's turn. Same thing for her. She can't reach with a melee attack, but we can get a decent range attack and finish the fight. So that's 3 enemies down the first turn, and it's going to be now this Maragon Legionnaire's turn to come in and start attacking us. Luckily, we're able to take a pretty good miss with Astarion, and now we're going to run up and start attacking with our monk again. So we're going to do the 3-hit combo again with a normal attack, the extra attack, and follow that up with, this time, the Flurry of Blows. And we're able to do some pretty decent damage to him. We'll just move the monk out of the way, and that gives the other characters an opportunity to run up and get close enough to attack. So Astarion will attack, and that will be enough to finish him off, and we can move on from here. The Maragon Legionnaire does have a new weapon, the Maragon Halberd, so go ahead and grab that from him. He also has the Devil Foil Mask if you want to grab that as well. Inside this room, there's also an opulent chest right along the side, so go ahead and open that up. It's not locked or anything. You can grab the Fire Stoker, a new weapon. There's also some gold. I got a silver ingot, the Arrow of Arcane Interference, and the Arrow of Many Targets. So let's grab all of that stuff. There is another table over here with an elixir of fire resistance that can come in handy a little bit later on. And once you're done looting the rest of the room, then let's just head on out. As you leave the room, there's going to be a table on your right-hand side with a book. It's called The Canticles of the Dark Mistress. So go ahead, read that one, and we're just making steady progress toward reading 100 different books throughout the game. And then let's go up the stairs. There is a skeleton right here without anything really important, so you can skip him if you want to, but the skeleton at the top actually has something very important, the shield mold. So let's go ahead and grab that one as well. And now we're going to head back down the stairs all the way to the bottom part where that little bridge thing was before. So we're going to go around here and then just head straight down and out the big doorway. When you get out here, let's use the jump command to hop up onto that little bridge. And we'll go across and then jump down to the lower level. There are a few more fights in this area, so what we are going to do is take a very quick short rest, and that will just give us our health back that we're missing currently, and we're going to run down this very long hallway all the way to the end of it. Once you reach the end, you'll notice that there is really nowhere to go except for another bridge piece, but if you were to jump down, you would take some damage, and that's not preferred. So instead what we're going to do is switch over to a character with a ranged weapon like Astarion, and we're going to target the lever on the platform all the way to the side here. We're going to target the lever that is closest to us. That will cause the platform to raise up, and that will get it so that we won't take fall damage when we jump onto it. So let's hop up on board, and then all of our characters are going to follow us up top.
Held together by rust and hope.
From here, we're going to target the other lever, so this is going to be the one furthest from us, and that will cause us to go across toward the other side of this area. And once we're over here, we don't want to jump down and potentially take any fall damage, so we can once again use a range attack, this time targeting the lever that is closest to us, and that will cause us to drop down, and then we'll be able to jump up onto this one without taking any damage. So that's a really nice way to get across here, and we can proceed on. So let's keep going, and what we're going to do is then get to the end of this platform and then jump down onto the rocks below us. So this is a little bit of a hub area. There's a few things of note. There is going to be a waypoint right here. That's nice if we want to fast travel back to the forge in the future. There's also going to be another mold. This is the mace mold on the table right where we drop down. So be sure to grab that. And then we're going to head over to the side. Now be careful because we're going to get ambushed by a couple enemies. What you can do is you can start to sneak and get a really nice sneak attack off of them. I didn't do that. There are a few enemies here. There's one tucked around the corner here, so be careful about him. There's also going to be 3 more enemies up top. There's 2 on the right hand side and then 1 back the other way, kind of behind the character. So we're just going to fight these guys off. I'm going to skip this fight because it's not very important or interesting. Just know that there's 4 enemies and you've got to take them all out. This was the position of the last enemy in this area, so he was the 4th one that I didn't show before, but he's just to the side of the other ones. Now, if you want to, you can go through and start to loot these enemies. There's not a whole lot of really important things. One of them does have a new piece of magical equipment. That would be this uncommon Dark Justiciar helm, and it does grant us a bonus to saving throws when we're obscured by shadows. So not horribly necessary for us, but it's something that you can pick up anyway. anyway. There's going to be another mold right here, so let's grab the scale mail mold. That's very important. And then we're going to run ahead, and then we can go over toward the right-hand side. We're going to run down by where all this lava is, because now that we have collected some molds, we need something to actually create an armor, which would be some type of metal here. So when we get down here, we're going to jump over the lava, and there's going to be this big glowing rock over here. This is a Mithral vein. You can just use normal attacks, so I'm just going to start punching it with my monk, and it has 10 health. Once you get through all of that, then the Mithral vein is going to explode, and it will leave a Mithral Ore on the ground. So make sure you pick that up, and now we have all the things that we need to create a piece of armor, and that will give us a trophy. So we're going to just head back the way that we came. We're going to jump over the lava and then run back to the main central part of the hub, right by where the waypoint is. So now that we're in the main area, we can go and do something toward the side here. This isn't really important, but I just thought I'd show it anyway, because if you want to be pretty complete in going through and collecting stuff, you can grab a potion of invisibility off of a skeleton over here, and then if you run over toward the right side, there's going to be a staircase taking you up. There's a chest at the back of the room here, so you can go ahead and open this one up, and we're going to grab a little bit of gold here and also a couple scrolls. So that's really everything around here. Once you've collected everything, then you can head back down, and we're going to go back down toward that glowing orange circle on the floor. So there's that big orange glowing circle on the ground. Once you get past here, you'll run to the top of this broken staircase. Right about in the top part here, what you want to do is to separate one character from the others. You should leave 3 characters up top here. They all have ranged weapons, and then we're going to take the monk down below. Now there is going to be a pretty tricky fight up ahead, so make sure that you're all rested up and that you have your health, and then we're going to hop down below. So 3 characters up top with ranged weapons, 1 other character is going to go down below, and we're going to run around down into this section here. We're going to take this path around, and when you get toward the bottom part here, there's going to be a bunch of enemies that jump up against us, and they surprised us, and they're going to take their attacks here. So we have 1 character who's in the fight now. The other 3 characters are not currently in the battle, but what we can do is switch over to them at any time, and then we can engage them even out of turn for the battle. So what we're going to do is start to attack them while they're attacking the monk down below. So we're going to stay out of sight right now, and we're going to get an early attack on them, and we can use a sneak attack ranged with Astarion, and that will do some really good damage, taking out one of these enemies. Now be careful, because when they die, they explode and do damage to the things around them. So you do have to be a little bit careful trying to take out these enemies. You don't want them to all blow up right in your monk's face or anything. You just want to be able to fight them off as best as possible without doing a whole lot of damage here. So we do have the monk. Unfortunately, he missed, but we can do a bonus attack. Let's do another unarmed strike and see if we can hit him. And yep, we did some pretty good damage there. Now what I want to do is use patient defense so that we have an advantage against the enemies and they have a disadvantage that could save our life, considering all of the problems that these guys cause being swarming around us. And they can do an attack that will cause us to drop our weapon. Luckily, it's the melee weapon and not the ranged weapon, so we're still able to do range attacks. Just make sure that you pick up the weapons that dropped, otherwise you won't have a weapon for them going forward. This fight does take quite a long time to get through, just because once you clear out some of the enemies, more of them will pop up. So you might want to consider having your monk or whatever character is down below retreat, and that will just buy some time for you. And we're just going to keep attacking the enemies as they come up. So we'll take out this magma mephit right here, and now all of our characters up top are safe, minus the fire damage that they're taking right now, because he exploded right in our faces. And we're just going to keep working on taking out these enemies, shooting them from above so we have an advantage. And this fight, will take a few minutes to do, but we're just going to skip ahead toward the end of the fight now. Alright, all of those enemies have been eliminated. That's great. Now what we want to do is to keep heading down below, and we're going to just make our way to the other side. We do want to regroup our party members, don't forget to do that, but they for some reason just don't want to follow me down at this point. That's okay, I don't really need them to come with us at this exact moment, but we can hop down here and then run to the other side. There's a few important things to pick up over here. There's a new book called Sharran Registry, so go ahead and read that one. And on the table, there's also another elixir of fire resistance. Grab that. And more importantly, there's going to be another mithril vein. So run over there and start punching it or otherwise destroying it. And we're going to pick up another one of the Mithral Ores. And this is the second one that we've collected, meaning that we can now craft 2 things in the Adamantine Forge. Over here, there's going to be a row of books. There's a couple scrolls in here. Go ahead and grab all those if you want to. The next one over doesn't have anything in it, so you can kind of not worry about this one. And over here is the third row of books that has Grimforge A History, another book that we can read. And there's going to be another scroll for Wall of Fire. So grab that if you want to. And now we're going to head back and join our party members on the other side. So we can run over here. We'll just jump across the gap and then climb all the way back up to where our party members are. Now, they're not jumping across for some reason, so we'll just switch to one of them and then jump over, and then the rest of them will follow. And we're going to head down toward the main forge area, but don't go in just yet.
The Adamantine Forge. Incredible. Must have taken years to build.
At this point, we're pretty hurt, and we want to make sure that we are in very good shape before we fight the next boss ahead, and we have to do it in a very particular way to get a trophy. So let's do a long rest and go back to camp. There's nothing really important that we need to do here, so let's go over and we'll do a long rest, and with any luck, our Owlbear Cub has returned to us. So let's do a full rest using one of our supply packs and see the cutscene. And sure enough, here's the Owlbear Cub.
The cub pecks at a crimson splash on his leg.
Animal handling. Whisper to calm the creature. Here's a skill check looking for a 10. Let's roll the dice and we should succeed.
The cub looks at you with glistening eyes. With a sad hoot, he holds out his paw, revealing a wound.
Medicine. Attempt to heal the injury. Another skill check looking for a 10. Let's roll the dice and succeed here as well.
As the wound closes, the cub begins testing his weight on the leg.
The little beast's quite charming once you get accustomed to the smell of rotting flesh.
Taming the Owlbear Cub allows us to complete one of Karlach's background goals, so that's a good progress toward the role player trophy if you haven't gotten that one already. And the Owlbear Cub now hangs out in our camp, so that's kind of cool.
Chirps brightly in recognition.
And we'll pet him.
He purrs and chirps, utterly content in your presence.
That got us a little bit more approval with Karlach too, which is really nice for trying to romance her later on. And now we'll go back by the campfire and choose to go to bed. Now it looks like Scratch has something that he wants, so let's go over and talk to him.
The dog wags his tail, a small bag clenched between his teeth.
Sleight of hand, snatch it away quickly. We have a skill check looking for a 10. Let's go ahead, roll the dice, and we get what we needed.
He gives in and surrenders his find to you.
And we'll pet him just because we're nice. And that's all, we can leave. So we got a bone from him. Kind of a funny little thing there. Alright, the next thing that I'm going to do is to remove Shadowheart from the party and bring Lae'zel into the party. We just want max damage going into this next boss fight. So I'll just speed things up here as we drop Shadowheart from the team and go back and collect Lae'zel. Now that Lae'zel is back in the party, she gets all the experience that she needs to level up, so let's go ahead and do that. Lae'zel is now a level 5 fighter. She gets a bonus to her health as well as the extra attack that some of our other characters have also gotten. She also learns Misty Step. Surrounded by silver mist, you can teleport to an unoccupied space you can see. So that just gives her lots of extra mobility, and that's pretty nice. Okay, well that's really all that we want to do at this point, so we're going to now choose to leave our camp, and we can then continue on into the Adamantine Forge. Let's jump down into the center area, and there are actually 2 trophies that we can get in this area. Starting off, there's going to be a few things of note. There's the big circle in the middle. This is the Crucible, and there's also the mold chamber next to us and the ejection lever. If we interact with the Crucible, it will open up. This is where we want to put one of the Mithral Ores that we collected earlier. So go ahead and choose that. We're going to put that into the Crucible, and then we're going to hold X to insert that, and then it will be combined and successfully inserted. Now what we want to do is go over to the mold chamber right next to us, and we're going to interact with that, and we can put in one of the molds that we collected. We collected the mace mold and the longsword mold. There's also the shield mold and the scale mail mold. That's the one that I'm going to choose here. So we'll grab that one and insert it, and then we're all ready. Now in one of the outside circles, there's going to be a lever. Let's go ahead and interact with that, and that's going to lower us to the lower section of the platform. We do have a boss fight down here, so I would recommend saving the game just in case something bad happens. You can just reload it to this point. And when you're all ready, what you want to do is to run toward the other end of the platform, and there's going to be a circle here. This is the lava valve. Let's go ahead and use that. Alright, here is Grim, and as you can see, the floor is lava, so we definitely want to avoid that. If you were to use one of the potions of fire resistance that we collected earlier on, then you wouldn't really have to worry about that fire damage so much, but you can just kind of get him to stay in the lava, and we are going to stay on the platform all around him. Now, he has a very special mechanic where he targets the last person to damage him in a turn, and that's who he's going to go after. So what you want to do is make sure that whoever is the last person to hit him is the person who can take a hit following up when it's his turn to attack. So we're just going to move up a little bit, and we're going to try to stay out of the lava as best as possible and do as much damage to him as possible here. So we're going to take him out just basically using our melee attacks here, and we can topple him. He's now prone. That gives us a nice little advantage moving forward. Let's move Lae'zel up a little bit, and then we're going to attack with her. If you haven't gotten the Action Surge trophy or achievement yet, this is a great time to do that because we can do a normal attack. Now we can do another main hand attack because we have the extra attack ability. So that's 2 attacks in a row. Now we'll use Action Surge, and that will give us another main hand attack. So that's 3. We can then follow that up with another bonus attack. This is the extra attack for another main hand attack. So that's 4 attacks in a row. And now we can use the pommel strike as well. So we were able to attack 5 times with her in just 1 turn, and that should definitely net you the trophy. So now we can move forward with Karlach. We're going to get as close as we can, staying out of the lava if possible. And if you go into the lava, it's not that bad. You just take some damage here. You do want to, however, end your turn not in the lava because you're going to be taking residual damage, and that can really add up over time. So what we want to do is just keep using as many attacks with her as possible, just do a lot of damage to him and just focus him down. Now the main gimmick of this fight is that you would typically want to make sure that his legs are on fire. You can see that they're kind of glowing a little bit. That's how you know that he's vulnerable. If his legs are not glowing, he's not superheated like that, then you're not doing enough damage. And typically if you were fighting him and trying to not get the trophy, you would just lure him over toward the main forge hammer, and you would drop that on him when he's in the middle of the arena, and that will do a ton of damage to him. But to get the trophy, we need to eliminate him without using that forge hammer at all. So that's why we're just going to kind of pin him in the corner right here, doing a bunch of extra attacks every single turn that we can, and we should be able to wear him out pretty quickly. So like I said before, make sure that whoever was the last person to hit him is the person who can take a hit, and he only really does like melee attacks. He does this kind of earthquake attack too, where he was able to hurt the area around him. Not a lot of damage though. We should be totally okay. We don't even really need to heal throughout this whole fight. So that's why we didn't really need Shadow Heart or anything. We're just focusing on doing as much damage as possible. I'm a firm believer in the best defense is a good offense, so we're just going to hit him really hard, really fast, and eliminate him before he has a chance to eliminate us. So that's really all there is to this fight. I'm just going to let it play out from this point, and I will see you at the end of it, where we look at the rewards that we get.
Let's cook with fire, baby.
After a couple of epic misses from Karlach, we have to count on Astarion to win the fight for us, so we'll go behind him so he can't see us, and we can hide and then use sneak attack range to finish the fight, which will eliminate him and get us the trophy called A Grym Fate by defeating Grym in the Adamantine Forge without using the hammer. So if we loot his body, we get a new helmet. This is the Grimskull helm. It's a very nice piece of equipment, so let's go ahead and grab that. And now we can run over to the forge lever. It's right by the platform controls where we came down, and we're going to pull the forge lever, causing the big hammer to come down. And doing so causes the middle part to come up, and we get the trophy called Forged in Blood and Fire. We can then grab the adamantine scale mail that we crafted. Because I'm a guild artisan, I also got an inspiration point, another point toward the role player trophy, and now I'm going to do the whole process again where I load the crucible and the mold, I use the lava, and then I also hit the lever to forge another thing. I chose to do the shield as well. Here's the Grimskull helm that we looted from Grym. Attackers can't land critical hits on the wearer. It grants resistance to fire damage, and it gives us Hunter's Mark, a level 1 divination spell. So that's really nice for us. We'll go ahead and equip that heavy armor onto Lae'zel. There's also the Adamantine Scale Mail. It's a magical plate that reduces all incoming damage by 1. It has Adamantine Backlash. When a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling for 2 turns. It does have a disadvantage on stealth checks, but attackers can't land critical hits on the wearer. So just like the helm, we can't be critical hit. And now we're going to go over and look at what the shield is. It has a Adamantine Shield ability, when a melee attack misses you, the attacker is sent reeling for 2 turns. And Shield Bash, when a foe hits you with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to knock it prone unless they succeed a dexterity saving throw, and attackers can't land critical hits on the wearer. So basically, we're not taking critical hits at all. That's a good thing to put onto someone who has a one-handed weapon like a mace or something, so definitely a good thing to equip. We can basically make our characters really, really strong. So now we're going to use the platform control to go back up to the top area, and we're going to continue on. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to head kind of straight across the forge area, and we're going to hop up to the next level. So that's just how you get back out of here. Now we're going to do a little bit of fast traveling. We're kind of done with this whole area. We're going to head to the Blighted Village because that's going to take us to the next area where we want to go for some more trophies as we move toward the Githyanki Creche. However, what we're going to do is to finish up with the Owlbear now by choosing to do another long rest. So we're back at camp now. Let's go ahead and go to bed, getting that long rest cutscene to play out, and we should have the Owlbear Cub have a little cutscene with us, and that will get us yet another trophy. So lots of trophies in just this one episode. Hurry towards the sound. Call to them. Animal handling. Hold Scratch's gaze and incline your head towards the cub. Everything all right? We get a skill check looking for just a 5. Pretty easy to pass this one.
Scratch's tail wags furiously. These two have become firm friends.
Pet Scratch. Now, pet the Owlbear Cub. And this gets us the trophy, You Have 2 Hands for a Reason, for petting both Scratch and the Owlbear Cub at the same time. Observe the pair for any signs of injury.
Nothing. Both animals look fine, watching you expectantly.
And that's all for that, so let's go ahead and leave. And after that rest, we're just going to go ahead and choose to leave camp, and we'll be back inside the Blighted Village, right by the waypoint. Our next order of business is to make Lae'zel happy by finally heading over to the Githyanki Creche. We just have to go north out of the Blighted Village and head our way a little bit toward the northwest, where we can make progress on that one. And that will pretty much wrap it up for the main things we have to do for all of Act 1. So I'm going to save that for the next part. This has been a long enough video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe if you want to see more episodes like this in the future. I know you guys are really hungry for these episodes, and I am making them as fast as I can for you, but I want to do a good job in the process. I don't want to have, a sloppy video come out and then it causes some issues down the road. So thank you for your patience as I work my way through this series, and I'll see you very soon for part 17. Until then, have a good day.